In this video, we're going to give an overview of access control lists. Now, access control lists have been around in the router and firewall platforms for just about as long as Cisco has made routers and switches and firewalls. And even though the name would seem to indicate that the only thing they're used for is restricting traffic, they can actually be used for a variety of functions. You can use them for filtering traffic going through a router. You can use them for filtering route updates, for tagging traffic for quality of service, for identifying traffic for VPN crypto maps to send across a VPN tunnel. And one use we'll see them for, matching source and destination networks for network address translation. So there are two types of ACLs in modern Cisco iOS routers. We have the standard ACL, and the standard ACL can only filter on the source IP address. It uses the numbered ACLs 1 through 99 and 1300 through 1999. We then have the extended ACL. The extended ACL can filter on nearly any criteria in the IP section of the packet: source or destination IP address or port, the protocol type, whether it's TCP or UDP, HTTP, anything above layer 3, IP precedence, terms of service, you name it, extended ACLs can filter on it. Extended ACLs use the numbered ACLs from 100 to 199 and 2000 to 2699. Access control lists that are used for filtering are applied to an interface. So you define the access control list, and then you go into the interface that you want to filter the traffic on, and you apply the access control list to that interface. And you'll see that when we get into the lab here in a little bit. ACLs can filter on either inbound or outbound traffic. You can have multiple ACLs on the same interface, one for inbound and one for outbound. So there's a myriad of ways you can do filtering with ACLs. Honestly, when we start doing traffic filtering like this, you're getting into some of the firewall functions that you'd see on a PIX or an ASA. Obviously not nearly as robust on an iOS-based router, but you've got enough there where you can manipulate the traffic to make it do pretty much whatever you want. Now, there are some best practices to follow when you're implementing filtering ACLs. Since standard access control lists only filter on source IPs, place them on the interface closest to the destination to avoid filtering too much traffic. Obviously, since you're only able to filter on the source, if you place them right next to the source traffic, you're blocking all of the traffic from going through that router, and you've essentially cut that workstation or that network off from the rest of the network. You put it closest to the destination, so by the time it gets there, it's traversed the network, and if you don't want it accessing a particular IP address, then you'd put it there and just block it entirely from that subnet. Extended ACLs can filter on the source or the destination, so you can place them closest to the source of the traffic to conserve bandwidth and routing resources. Again, this makes logical sense when you sit and think about it. I can specify an extended ACL that says this workstation cannot get to this server on this port. Well, obviously, you don't want to wait until it's already crossed the network to block it. You can block it right at the source router, and it never gets out on the WAN. And we'll see both of these situations when we get into our lab. Access control list entries are evaluated in the order that they're entered into the CLI. The first matching ACL rule is processed and stops the processing. So as a result, you need to put more specific rules near the top of the list and more general ones near the bottom. And this next rule is one that bites nearly everyone that builds an ACL for filtering. There is an implicit deny all at the bottom of the list. So once you've blocked traffic or allowed traffic, okay, I'm done, I'm just going to save my ACL, and anything that's not specifically allowed in that ACL gets denied. And that will kick you out of a router, that will cut off an entire subnet, it'll do all kinds of crazy things, most of which you don't intend to happen. And that holds true for whatever purpose the ACL is used for. If you're using it to filter routes for a route update, you need to make sure that you allow all the rest of the routes through that filter once you've denied the ones you want to filter out, or else you will stop sending routing information to the rest of your network, and your routing will stop. So I can't drive this point home enough. Remember the deny all at the bottom of the list. That concludes our overview of access control lists.